And welcome to the action, everybody. House Party 5v5 Saturday League. And guess what? We are at our finals for Season 2 already. Seems like yesterday we started this thing up, and now we are concluding our Season 2 Championship Series. Got Hands of God on the blue side, Breaking Bard on the red side. Hands of God storming through the playoff bracket, starting at the pretty much the lowest seed with no buys, clawed their way up to the finals and face Breaking Bard today. Hi folks, my name's Anson. Welcome to the show. Joining me on the caster's desk, my good friend Deck.
Hey guys.
We will be shoutcasting the remainder of this series, and it is shaping up to be quite a contest. Already bans coming out: Alistar, Rek'Sai, Lulu, Hecarim, Ryze, and Azir. Wumble going for the early Gragas pickup, and Kuro and Fly Knight getting things started out on their end as well.
I don't really agree with the early Sedge. I understand that they want Sejuani, they don't want to take it away, but there's no chance of it being taken away because they already have Gragas.
Exactly. So at that point...
But I guess they don't want to reveal.
Sure. It is game one. There's a lot of strategies going into a 5-game series. Game one, you can play your best. You can throw your best champions at it. You can throw your super secret strategy that you've been working on all week and get that rock and roaring start. Or you can come out with something that's a little experimental, a little bit off kilter. Might not work, but hey, it's game one. We've got plenty of time to recover, so why not try something crazy? There's so many options here going through these teams' minds. They have to guess, what's the other side going to do? What are we going to do in response to it? How do we approach pick ban phase? There's so much that goes on before the actual game even starts.
So I like to think, I see a lot of hovering over Echo. It's only on purple side, so I assume that what's happening here is they're trying to bait the enemy into picking Echo, because Echo is something who is very strong in matchups where he is good, and in matchups where he is bad, he's really weak because he's very item dependent.
Certainly a very strange type of champion. You're right with the item dependency. A lot of people have talked about playing him in the jungle, playing him even in a support role, and it's like, no, he needs items.
I mean, he is an okay jungler. I mean, he has very good ganks. He's a pretty good top laner in some matchups. He's a good mid laner in some matchups, and in other matchups he's terrible, because if he's not ahead, he can't really do what he wants to do. If he's even, he can fight pretty well. If he's behind, he can be kind of a CC bot who occasionally can kill somebody. But he doesn't have the potential of like a LeBlanc or a Ziggs.
So Luna's locking in that Victor pick, and we've got the Morgana alongside it as well. Of course, Kuro is going to get his champion. Going to be bringing out the Vayne. We are seeing a substitution actually on both sides. Both sides have a player playing for them that is not on their main roster. Skye, a well-known top lane player, named Darius, and he actually got his Darius pick. So that could turn out to be really good for Breaking Bard. Usually in the in-house games, you'll see Skye gets Darius banned against him. And we've got
I mean, and I do like Darius a lot. I think he's very underplayed right now, simply because a lot of people are in the habit of, oh well, he's a noob crusher, and his kit's very good against people that are less skilled. But he does have strengths, and as long as you win before he falls off, he's very powerful through most of the game.
Definitely can get a snowball going. The top lane pressure that a Darius can put down with just 1-2 kills in his pocket is tremendous. Darius is one of those champions, I mean, like a lot of top laners, I guess you could say, a lot of top lane bruisers. Once they get that first kill, that's all it takes. That snowball's going downhill. And I have seen Skye play Darius to the point where he's gone into the mid game with 7-8 kills, no deaths, and it's just Dunk City. But like I said, can Breaking Bard pull that off before it gets to late game and Darius starts falling off?
Now, looking at the team comps a little bit, it looks like we're going to see a lot of AoE team comps on one side, and the other side is more going to be about kind of skirmishing, backing off, because with a Vayne, you don't necessarily want there to be too many prolonged team fights. You have, your mana costs will eventually catch up to you, but they have really good catching potential with the Ziggs ult being able to go everywhere, with Sejuani's ult, with Thresh hooks coming out, and Darius being able to just dunk people. So we'll see how that goes. I'm very interested to see, hopefully, a good Gnar into Morgana into Victor combo, because that's going to be really scary.
And another thing to point out for Breaking Bard here is they have built a fantastic Protect the Vayne composition. Take a look at everybody. Everybody on the team can peel for Vayne, including Vayne.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Thresh with multiple kinds of ways of peeling, just between his Q, his E, and his ult. Sejuani, obviously, you don't want to dive towards a Sejuani, because if you're clumped up, that's easy full team ult. Darius, tons of damage. Will expect it. And then Ziggs, you don't want to fight on top of the Ziggs.
You don't want to fight on top of the Ziggs. At the same time, he can use his Satchel Charge to displace. Darius has a pull. He can easily pull multiple members off Kuro if the backline ends up getting dope. So there are tons of options there for them to protect Kuro. I think a lot of this game is going to depend on how well he performs in the bottom lane against Wumple. But let's not count Wumple out at all. He's a fantastic AD carry, one of the top AD carries in the league. He's playing Ashe right now, a lot less hyper carry potential there, a lot more utility, but I can see the utility on Hands of God really coming out strong in the early game. Just the amount of crowd control they have in a gank bottom lane, it's going to be pretty substantial, especially if Helbizzle can land that snare.
I mean, if we go strictly by junglers right now, Hands of God has the stronger jungler, because Gragas does the same thing that Sejuani will do, but he's more versatile.
Right.
And it works towards the comps.
Gragas has arguably one of the best ultimates in the game. And it's not in terms of damage, it's in terms of its utility. It can do so many things. It can blast an AD carry off the back line toward the front line. It can blast two bruisers off your AD carry back to the back line. It can cut a team in half and allow your team to pick off 2 or 3 members while the other 2 catch up from the stun and the distance they lost. So many things that can be going on with that. Well, folks, we are heading into our Champion Select. Caster's going to take a short break. As soon as we hit the rift, we'll be right back with the action. Stick around. Hands of God versus Breaking Bard. Plenty more to come. And we are back once again. Hands of God on the blue side, Breaking Bard on the red side. I'm Anson, folks. Happy to have you watching our championship finals. It's been a long road, and we have gotten down to our final 2 teams, Hands of God and Breaking Bard, shaping up to be quite a 5-game series. Joining me in the co-caster's chair, my good friend Deck.
Hey guys, happy to be here.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Happy to be looking at this mini-map and seeing where our teams are stacking up at the moment. We've got a good line of scrimmage on both sides. I don't think either side really expecting an invade or trying to try something too risky level 1. And what that tells me is I think these compositions that we're seeing are probably compositions we're going to see for the remainder of the tournament. at least the idea of them. Now, if Kuro comes out strong in this game with his Vayne, he will see a ban. That champion will draw a ban in the later games of the series. May force a complete workaround from a Protect the Vayne composition. But Kuro has been known to play Kog'Maw quite proficiently as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to pull out a Kog'Maw if they pull a Vayne ban. I almost think he's expecting a Vayne ban in the second game, which is why he went for the early Vayne pick.
It's a good strategy to want to play with your strengths game one, and Vayne has been a champion he's had a lot of practice on. He did come out last week and just floored everybody with his performance on Kog'Maw. I would love to see a repeat of that performance today, but definitely having two hypersensitive hyper carries in your repertoire is quite a good thing if your team is sort of like a one-trick pony when it comes to compositions. Not saying that Breaking Bard are, but if that's their best composition, Kuro having access to those two champions, it would take two bans coming out from Hands of God to ban out the entire team composition. And that's not to say that he hasn't been practicing a third.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of want to see other things from him.
The snare goes down on the Kuro along with the exhaust. Wumple pops the heal, gets the first blood. Ignite ticking away. The hook going in with the auto attack. That's going to be enough to take it. Can Fly Knight get out with the flash? He's going to make it. 1 for 1. Kill traded. AD carry got the kill on Hands of God. Support got the kill on Breaking Bard. So a little bit of an advantage for Hands of God, but still gold in the pocket of both sides. They're very well played from Fly Knight.
It was very well played, and I think Wumple was getting a little bit too risky in it. He probably could have gotten away just fine, but he wanted to get that second kill, and they almost got that second kill. So it was almost worth the gamble, but he lost his flash, and all he got out of it was Fly Knight's flash, and he died.
There's a little bit of greed on his part. I'm not sure exactly what Kuro was thinking. Early game Vayne is not the strongest. And just in terms of the amount of damage, virtually no utility. It's not a champion that you want to be engaging in those level 2 power spike battles. And he just sort of stepped up, auto-attacked, took some damage, and died. Not quite off to the greatest start for him.
Well, okay, so let's look at their previous matches from last week. And even the week before, he is known for being really aggressive on champions who we wouldn't expect him to be aggressive on. And against a lot of the teams, that threw them off balance because they were like, "Oh, we don't think we can fight him if he's this certain he's gonna beat you." But now, up against Hands of God, they're just like, "Yeah, we know that you can't fight us right now, so we're just going to abuse you for trying."
Well, and that's kind of the deal with Kuro at this point. He's been understood as an AD carry going on, I think, 4 weeks now? 4 or 5 weeks. And a lot of people know his playstyle, and the more you play against a specific playstyle, the more the gimmicks and the cheese of that start to fall away, because people will expect it. You're right. People will start to know, hey, this guy plays aggressive even with champions he shouldn't be playing aggressive with. So they can plan for that eventuality. They can plan around their level 2 power spike and get something out of it, which is, I think, what happened there to a greater or lesser degree. A lot of damage going down onto Hellbizzle there. Great hook coming out from Fly Knight. Breaking Bard really on some champions that they're very comfortable with.
Seeing an early pink ward defense from Sally. I'm curious to see if he's going to hang around and probably loop around a gang. They know he's here. Mishari is here to wait, so...
Yet there's still... Oh, Mishari coming in. Better Call Saul getting out. He gets hooked backward, though, by Fly Knight. The teleport is coming in from top lane. It gets canceled. Wumple, Hellbizzle left all on their own. Wumple going for one more auto attack to get a kill onto Kuro Sakai, but not going to be able to quite make it. Fine is going to pick one up, though. Kuro and Fly Knight are so low right now. Hellbizzle playing a dangerous game, trying to go in for the binding and the kill. Gets the binding and the kill!
Very nice. That was that was huge risk. If, for whatever reason, Fly Knight got to throw the hook first, Hellbizzle has no vision whatsoever of it, so that was just a complete guess.
It was a huge guess. It was a game of chicken between the two of them. Whose cooldown's going to come up first, and who can dodge the others? And Hellbizzle just, it almost seemed too easy for him. He just threw the binding out, and the damage from the binding alone was enough to get the kill.
Quick substitution.
Now, we saw a teleport coming out from Ginger towards bot lane, and it didn't come through, and the reason for that, Darius was close by. You can't teleport if you're within vision range of Darius because he just walks over to you and yanks you, and that interrupts it.
So
I believe that actually got his Sky's flash, though, because I think he had to flash to the yank.
yeah, we do see the flash on cooldown. It's about the same cooldown that Ginger's teleports. Luna's gets the stun down onto 2 and actually comes out of this gank ahead. The put a lot more damage back onto Breaking Bard than he actually received from all 3 members of that team. So very well played on that gank defense there. The Hawkshot does go out into the enemy jungle, and it's going to reveal just right around where that wolf orb is sitting.
And, I mean, okay, so ganking a Victor sounds like a good idea. He has no movement abilities besides a speed boost if he decides to upgrade his Q early. All he really has is his stun field, but his stun field is very good against people that need to walk up to him because they have to walk through the field to get to him. So they dove in on him, but they dove into a guaranteed stun.
He used that to get himself to safety. Sky going in onto Ginger here, and he's going to get some impressive damage, but ends up getting a lot traded back, and they have to back off now that Nega's coming out from Ginger here. He does have the ultimate both sides in the top lane. Bottom lane just now hitting 6 for Breaking Bard. Wumple still falling a little bit behind, but looks like he's going to be farming safety from the back line. Gets to level 6, so we may see the Ash Arrow come out here in the next few seconds. But they are pushed up onto this turret very hard.
And I mean, so they haven't actually removed the ability for Ash's Q to work on towers yet. You just can't build it on towers. What we're probably going to see is they're going to try and fight them and push them off the tower so that Wumple can use the Ash Q to rip that tower apart. Because currently, she's really good at killing towers. She rivals Jinx and Tristana for killing towers. So I expect that this tower will go down, probably the first tower of the game.
They certainly are putting a lot of aggression onto this turret. We're not seeing a lot of response coming out. Great Black Shield onto Wumple there to stop the Q. That would have been quite a bit of damage put down onto Wumple. Asphalt and Gingerfied running across each other. Looks like Ginger's going to get out of that one. But yet not seeing a lot of response from Mashari in this bottom lane, despite the amount of aggression that Wumple is putting down onto this turret. And the thing about the tower aggression that you get out of an Ashe, it's countered by the fact that an Ashe doesn't have an escape. So short of shooting your ultimate out and capitalizing on that brief stun that you get from pretty much a point-blank ultimate, there's not really much else to go. The flash in, taking the Lantern, Mashari trying to get in. There's the Ash Arrow, not going to be able to do much with that at all. That was very well coordinated. I was very impressed by Breaking Bard's ability to coordinate that, but wow, Hands of God just played the disengage off that perfectly, and that ends up being Fly Knight's flash burn.
So that was some really good reaction from Wumple because like all Wumple saw was Fly Knight came in and the lantern wasn't there anymore. So it was like, oh no, somebody's about to grab the lantern. It's probably Sejuani. So it's time to back up. So he just, without hesitation, flashes away. Now, even though Wumple is ahead, Wumple is not ahead in CS. He's still being out-CS'd.
Oh, and he's getting thrown into the turret there. A lot of crowd control and damage going down onto him. Mashari is here for the gank, and Hellbizzle just getting up in the faces of Breaking Bard. Ends up paying for that one with his life. 2-for-0 exchange in the bottom lane. Assists going out to 3 different champions on Breaking Bard. Better Call Saul coming in. misses with the ultimate, gets the smash. Will he have enough room to back out of this one? The Ziggs ult does provide quite a bit of damage. 150 health left on Sala. Not going to make it out. Another kill going over to Kuro. His third of the game at this stage.
And I mean, he's just allowed to be aggressive now because he now has 2 Doran's blades. He's got a cutlass, so he can, once he gets on you, he can use the cutlass to stay on you, even though he doesn't have boots yet. Which we'll see him get boots soon. It was very good of Saleh to be able to use his W to eat the damage from the second auto attack from Kuro, and if he had a little bit more time, he would have been able to E away. Kuro's tumble was still on cooldown, but unfortunately, he was just in range for another auto attack.
So we're seeing a lot of really close skirmishes. A lot of fights that could have gone one way or the other, that were just down to the wire. And I think it goes to show how well these teams are matching up against each other. Gingerfied and Sky putting up quite a contest in the top lane. And you know, it's interesting to see how Sky is holding up against a Diamond 5 player. But you know, admittedly, Ginger not a big top lane player, so that's got to count for something. Fly Knight with a play backward. Wumple gets the shield down onto him, grabs the kill, but Kuro is on his heels with the condemn, going to pick that one up as well. Sala coming in for the gank, doesn't find anything. Kuro Sakai is safely parked back of the turret. Going to be a kill going into the pocket of Hands of God. So 5-7 at 13 minutes into the game. The Mega Gnar coming out with the hop. Throws Sky into the wall, but he's going to have to retreat. Oh, the flash! The Darius pull hit. The Darius pull fired before the flash fired. Once the Darius pull is executed, anything within the path radius of that pull is going to get yanked back, regardless of whether you flash out of it, and that's exactly what we saw happen. Fly Knight hooking onto Hellbizzle. Sala in trouble as well, and Luna's, what is happening here? Breaking Bard with a perfect rotation toward Dragon. They end up capitalizing on Hands of God being out of position, not really responding to that threat as a unit, and Breaking Bard picked themselves up quite a good reward for it.
I think we need to call the refs. I think that the Dragon is working for Breaking Bard, because Dragon got 2 kills for Breaking Bard there, actually, with his breath.
Wow. I think there might be a little bias on the part of our Dragon.
Alas. And one thing about Darius's hook, since you mentioned it, the...
Oh, Wumple getting power dove here. That is just the unfortunate downside of playing a low mobility champion with no escape. The exhaust goes on to Kuro. The Dark Binding was not available right there, but Hellbizzle did end up saving himself. They're gonna lose a turret in this bottom lane for it.
I'm gonna call 2 points for Vayne spotting. Kuro decided to tumble towards the tower into an exhaust.
That does
Alas.
sometimes happen.
Anyway, back to the Darius
Back to the
hook.
Darius.
Eventually we'll be able to talk about it when something's not happening. So the way that the hook works is it does a target check when you start the animation. And the animation has about 1/4 of a second cast time. But that cast time doesn't actually matter. It will still go off even if you stun him during it. The important thing is that it checks to see if you're inside the radius of the hook whenever it activates. So when you actually finish the animation, the movement starts. So even if you flash, as long as it got you within the first 1/4 second before you flash, then you're gonna get pulled regardless of how far away you got. Same thing can happen if you teleport away, or if you recall. He can yank you all the way back from your base to him. It's just very hard.
I would like to see that play out in a tournament game. Catch somebody just on the edge of their recall in that last 1/4 second to where you can't be interrupted with damage in your recall, and then just pull him straight back from the foul. I don't think that's too much to ask.
You know, I would like to see some crazy awesome Darius hook plays.
Oh, the Glacial Prison doesn't hit there, but the ultimate from Asphalt does. Gets the bomb toss down, and that's going to be Luna going back to base the hard way. Sky and Ginger fighting things out. The Mega Narc does come out, and Sky in a bit of trouble. That boulder toss along with the jump. Ginger going to pick that one up fairly easily. Sky not respecting the power of the Mega Narc.
I think Sky assumed that he was a little bit safer because he got a Randuin's fully built, but most of the damage that Gnar does to you early is magic damage anyway. It only starts doing more physical damage as he starts building his attack items like you know, Black Cleaver, Blade of the Rune King, depending upon which build you're going for. So he got a little bit too aggressive. I think it was because he was interrupting Gingerfied's teleport, and he decided to just fighting him, but he should have just backed off once he got the teleport.
Would have been a good thing to have done. Kuro tumbles out of the ice arrow there. Great reaction time from him, just completely negates Wumple's ultimate. That's going to be on cooldown.
Some fancy feet. Had to flash, but better than dying, I guess.
Better than dying. And an arrow at that range is going to stun you for quite a good amount of time. And at that point, they did not have any vision on the river, so no idea if someone's just around the corner or not. Probably decided, you know what, I might be able to survive this flash, but I don't want to risk it.
Well, so now we have bot tower gone. Dragon's off the table. So the next thing that Breaking Bard's probably going to go for is likely mid lane, but against Victor, that's going to be really hard because he upgraded his E first. And if he upgrades the E, he can just clear waves without actually having to be there for the most part.
Victor wave clear very strong, and you take a look at the farm. He's a little bit behind Ziggs, unfortunately. Ziggs is such an adept farmer. Even after they made some damage changes to his E a few patches ago, still quite excellent at wave clearing and farming. I think it's just sort of devolved into a stalemate middle lane. Of course, we've got Luna's 2 kills down, but none of those actually went over to Asphalt. So they're still both relatively on even footing. You're taking a look at the gold. Okay. We've got 5,500 to 6,500, so about 1,000 gold lead. Better Call Sala getting found out in this jungle, but the assist from Luna is going to keep him healthy. The hook over the wall is going to lock it into place, and Fly Knight follows things up. Not going to hit anything with the ultimate there, and Luna's forced to flash back to turret, but nope, the Mega Inferno Bomb going to take that one out. Sky, once again, going round and round with Ginger. He might actually be able to pick it up here. The dunk goes down. The bleed is going to take it out. Retribution kill going over to Sky, and the flash backward not going to be able to save Sala here, and that is a 3-man Breaking Bard assault onto this turret, and they are picking up quite a bit of steam here. Breaking Bard sitting on a 6,000 gold lead at 20 minutes into the game. Quite telling.
Oh, Ginger. You may be Gnar, maybe in Mega form, but you still only have about 130 armor. You can't tank the tower for that long.
Once those tower shots keep coming down, and really perfect kiting from Sky. Just dancing around that turret, putting down as much damage as he could while he did it, but prioritizing his own safety. He managed to keep enough hit points to extend that little dance out long enough for the tower to do its work. The bleed ended up finishing things off, and he fired the ult at exactly the right time. So really great play coming out from Sky there.
Oh, definitely. Unfortunately, Breaking Bard is still going to be quite a bit ahead. They have superior vision. They've got 4 pink wards on the map. I'm not sure who the 5th is, but he needs to step it up so they can have their 5 pink wards out.
That's quite a vision accomplishment to get 4 pink wards down on the map.
I'm just assuming that they're going to go for top next because they just got the dragon and mid tower's already gone, so may as well go for the last outer turret unless you can win a really good team fight in mid or bot lane and get that turret. But it seems kind of unlikely that they'll win that hard in a matchup.
you know, they've been one step forward and two steps back this entire game, unfortunately. Got quite a few successes, but unfortunately for every success, it seems like they've had about 2 failures. And with Gingerfied, unfortunately, not performing very well in this mid-game. He came out with a strong early aggression over Darius. Look at the farm, 167 to 136. I think it's very telling of the difference in solo queue rank between the two. But look at the way that Sky is playing with his decision making. He's forced Ginger into some bad decisions, and I think my assessment's correct. Put him on kind of a tilt here.
Well, I mean, and even then, looking at the farm isn't enough, because Darius tends to be a little bit weaker against a lot of the ranged champions, especially Gnar, because Gnar is really tanky while also being ranged. So we're kind of expecting him to be behind on CS, and he's still able to keep up with him in gold. Granted, that's mostly because his team's been getting a lot of objectives elsewhere, but he hasn't been dying a lot, which is the important thing. He died once because of a poor decision, thinking he could still fight the Gnar, and he hasn't done it again. He's only fought Gnar on his own terms.
Yeah, I think a lot of people underrate Sky as a top laner. He was picked up second string this season. Last season he played first string for the most underperforming team in the league. And they only ended up getting 1 win out of the entire group stage. And he came in, you know, mid part of that season and still functioned well on a team that really just wasn't hitting well here. That's all Sala getting found. Bad spot for him to be in Luna. Trying to do what he can to stun, actually going to help, but no, the Mega Inferno Bomb. Asphalt paying for that though, getting hit just the tip from Hellbizzle. Gingerfied going into that small corridor. The Gnar ultimate catches 2 out. No follow-up from the rest of Hands of God, though. I think he expected a lot more damage to come out from the rest of his team. Wumple is on the run. Might actually end up dying here. Nope, has to flash it away. Sorry, going over the wall, in on Luna's. Gets the kill. The Ignite going to give the kill back over to... Well, Mashari doesn't have Ignite. It was something.
So Mashari actually got ignited by Luna's, and that's pretty much the reason why Mashari instantly went in, because he was low enough that he would die to the Ignite, so he needed to kill Luna's.
Asphalt.
A lot of damage to Wumple.
Getting chased down by Better Call Sala. He's going to be quite comfortable in his own jungle, though. Getting a little bit of, or in the enemy jungle, getting a little bit of breathing room from the rest of Hands of God, but I don't think he needs to be sticking around too long. You can overstay that welcome, and Hands of God's still plenty capable of catching a target out, even though the gold lead is sitting at 9,000 in favor of Breaking Bard. They can't just go wherever they want and do whatever they want quite yet in this game. It's not that out of control. That being said, Kuro is 7-1. When you're down nearly 10,000 gold to a 7-1 Vayne, sitting on a Phantom Dancer, a BF Sword, about to be turned into... no, we already have the Quicksilver Stash, and the Blade of the Rune King. I mean, that's very hard to overcome.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's almost 3,000 gold ahead of Wumple.
Getting found out here. Unfortunate for him. Wumple, all he can do is just slowly try to walk away. Not going to make it back to turret in time. The ultimate from over the wall from Sala just doesn't find anything. Hellbizzle flips the Soul Shackles down on the Sky. The rest of Breaking Bard rotating perfectly, cutting off all avenues of escape, coming from the top, coming from the bottom, nowhere left for Hellbizzle to run.
And
great rotations.
And meanwhile, all this is happening, and they don't even need Kuro. Kuro has the most gold on their team, and Kuro is all split pushing and not being punished for it.
It's a very
so
easy
Kuro
thing for him to do.
Could easily get the tower.
Sitting at 223 farm with all these kills. Another one goes down. They can send Kuro off to the bottom lane to split push. Nobody can 1v1 him. Anybody on Hands of God right now, including Gingerfied, probably in Mega form, can't stand up to Kuro.
I actually think he'd be worse off in Mega form than he would in normal. He'd just be taking more damage from the bolts and from the Bork.
You have to consider that as well. The percentage health damage coming out from the Vayne, true damage on top of that, is quite powerful. So you're right, it may be better for him to have that extended range and not have to get up in Kuro's face when he's in mini form. But again, nobody on Hands of God 1v1 capable of dealing with Kuro, so he has the option. Does he stay and win a team fight, or does he go off and split? His team wins the team fight anyway, and they get 2 turrets out of it. It's a little riskier with your second option, but they certainly have both options open to them, and that is what they're doing in this game. They're taking options away from Hands of God and adding them to themselves, to their team. Asphalt getting out with a great Thresh Express. Fly Knight is really coming through for his team here. I have to comment on his Thresh play. He has been on point with the hooks, the flays, the lanterns. I would go as far as to say Hands of God need to ban out Thresh in Game 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think that it was Kuro that... Like, Kuro's play was very good. But I don't think banning Kuro's Vayne is going to be the answer, because they had a very good early game against him. They were doing fine. That, granted, he was being a little bit over-aggressive and got punished for it. But just overall...
A great 3-man pull from Sky. Locks everybody up. Wumple is completely gone. Sala on his way out. The damage ticking away. 2 kills going down. Gingerfied has to flash away, and the surrender vote comes out from Hands of God. White handily won by breaking Bard, despite being a man down. Of course, Hands of God a man down as well, and we'll see how that translates over into the next game of the series. Guys, we're going to take a short break here as we set up for that one. Stick around. We've got plenty more action to come. This is a 5-game series. Stick with us.